And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. This is not a lowdown. This is a Lakers Lounge episode. Reason being, I am joined by Raj Chipalu. He was just marveling at the fact that outside my window right now it is 37 degrees, and he was saying how freezing it is because it is like what 67 outside for you right now.
It's
Are you
67.
gonna are you gonna make it?
I don't know what it is outside, but it's 71 degrees in my house, and I went to go grab a sweater for this podcast. So it it's cold.
You know what? You know what wasn't cold?
Hmm.
Both the Lakers and the Raptors closing that game. No, like they were just freaking. Dennis Schroeder he was banking in 3-pointers. You had Pascal Siakam making a three from the corner. You had Cam Reddish make a big three down the stretch there. Austin Reaves made one from 30 feet. A game that was a bit of a slog for most of it. All of a sudden opened, and turned into a shootout. And the Lakers were able to come out on top, though, to the tune of 132 to 131. The Raptors made a three there at the very end. So those of you who had Lakers minus 1.5, that's a tough loss. That's the kind of thing like that. You lose that one, you lose that way, and you like reconsider gambling for a little bit. you, you question some life choices, and you have to explain to your wife why you're pissed that the Lakers won by only 1 point. No, that
And
was a
have I told you the one time I gambled on the NBA? This is the one time I did it. So this was like 3 years ago, and we were in Vegas. Me and my mom, I think, were on vacation in Vegas, and the Warriors and Grizzlies were playing a play-in game. I was like, there's no way the Warriors lose this playing game. And I'm in Vegas and I'm like feeling good. So I go downstairs to the casino and I think I go put 200 on the Warriors. And Ja Morant hits like 6 threes in this game. And Ja was like a 29% 3-point shooter, I think, at this time. And these aren't like spot up, these are like off the dribble pull up threes. And I told myself, never again. The Grizzlies won that playing game, and then we obviously beat the Warriors in the next playing game. But I was like, never again. The Grizzlies beat the Warriors in a damn playing game, and I just lost $200 for no reason. And I didn't enjoy one bit of a really fun Warriors Grizzlies playing game that night.
it's an
So it's like
incredible game.
I don't want to watch basketball this way. Yeah, it was an incredible game, and I was miserable. I was like, damn it, no! Like every single possession.
Who
So
do you
yeah,
think
no,
was more upset about that loss? You or Aaron?
yeah, it's probably close.
Are you a gambler? Like, do you ever, not at all? Because I could picture
No,
you I could picture you at like a blackjack table. Because
mm-mm.
I could see you studying how to do it, knowing that you're going to Vegas. You're like, all right, at some point I'm gonna have to play some blackjack. You study it, you buy a book, you rewatch some tape of some hands and stuff like that, and you nail down the strategy, and you sit down at the table, and you have things going well. You know how you can get the table against the dealer. You have it all set up. All of a sudden, one person gets up, another person sits down, and that person immediately splits like queens or something like that. And you just look over so innocently and just be like, why? Because they just fucked up the entire math of the table. Like, that's the scene I picture of you gambling in
the
Vegas
the only gambling I do in Vegas, and this is free
for
game
like
for anyone who
$5 a
wants.
hand.
Yeah, no, so this is free game for anyone who wants it, and maybe just people do this anyway. But like at in Vegas, they have the bars with the casino game on it, and
Yeah.
so I found out recently that like they give you
Recently.
free drinks if you play those games, and there's no like minimum that you need to play. So like so you just like you
Well,
can
there
put
is
a 20.
some casinos will hold you to a minimum. Like there is like a hand a minute type of minute or
So
a minimum there.
So what I learned is you just have to be playing. So one time the guy's like, "Hey, you're not even playing." I was like, oh, "Okay, like let me get back and start playing." But like, yeah, so they just want to know that you're at least playing. But like, I'll put a 20 in, like
Yeah.
maybe like I'll win like $1, lose $1, like back and forth on. I'll just play I'll just play blackjack on the thing, and then yeah, you'll get like 2-3 drinks out of it, and then you can just cash right out for anyone who's like looking for a easy way to get drinks in Las
Raj,
Vegas.
Raj just like happily giving away some of the easiest known or the most known secrets in the world.
This is like
I
this
can't
that
judge
was
because that is my favorite thing to do also.
okay.
I
So other
actually
people do this. I didn't know.
I'll go into like the high limit room and do it there because it's like a little quieter.
Mhm.
But you know, and they have better wine usually in those rooms, and that's how I do it. But no, enough about that. The Lakers
Yes,
got a huge win. Or they
absolutely.
didn't lose and miss out on a giant opportunity. Justin Tyndall writing in here and summarizing the game. 4 Toronto starters scored over 20 at better than 50% from the field. Every Toronto player played more than 15 minutes, scored double figures. They have 15 wins. Thank God Pirtle didn't play. You know what? I can't disagree. I can't disagree on that last one. AD went off. He finishes
Mhm.
the game with 41 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, a block, a few turnovers, whatever. 13 of 17 from the field, which is big boy numbers. 2 of 2 from 3-point range, and 13 of 14 from the free throw line. Offensively, Raj, that's about as good a game as you're ever going to see from somebody, right? Especially from AD.
80 was incredible. I just like the insistence on giving him the basketball, and I thought we kind of lost that a little bit. Toronto sent 2 at him after I believe the first quarter. I think he had like 17 or 16 points in the first, 7 for 9 before even the fourth quarter. And yeah, he just looks. I'd argue, Anthony, this is the best basketball that he's played as a Laker, just like in terms of this stretch of basketball that he's played. I don't think there's another time where he's been a Laker where he's played this well, other than maybe the 2020 playoffs, which was more just jump shot kind of reliant. But no, they went to him every single time. I thought Toronto doubled him in very strategic ways that kind of took away the paint. Toronto was like plus 12 inside, I believe, going into the fourth. They sent doubles. They had Vando cutting. He was kind of kicking out to guys, kicking out to shooters that were cold. Austin was missing. But AD got the defensive player of the year stop at the end on Scotty Barnes. He was switching
Mhm.
out on Siakam. He was protecting the rim. And then we were looking at it like, oh, yeah, he was only has like 20 points or something going into the fourth quarter. And yeah, he finishes with 41, 11, and 6. Just a monster night from AD. He's special, man, and I hope the Lakers can collect some wins to like get him into these MVP and DPOY conversations. But he's held his own. He's carried the team so far, and one of another just monster night from him for sure.
We'll talk more about AD here in a second. Elsewhere in this game, it was funny. We were sitting there, we're like, it feels like a bit of a quiet game here for LeBron. He
Hmm.
finishes in 35 minutes, 8 of 17 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point range, 4 of 6 from the line, 5 boards, 12 assists, 22 points. And we're like, kind of a quiet game. You look at like all of the Raptors that you would say played really well in this one. Pascal Siakam, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Scotty Barnes, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. RJ Barrett, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Emmanuel Quickly, who fouled out, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. And you're like, man, all of those guys look like at various points, you're
Hmm.
like, man, this guy's killing us. This guy is playing really, really well. This guy's having an incredible game, right? In RJ Barrett's case, that's like one of the better lines that you're going to see him in all
Yeah,
aspects of the game. And no, LeBron's just like, yeah, I didn't play my best, but I guess I'll throw together a 22, 12, and 5 line. And one thing that I'm always looking out for with the Lakers while LeBron is there is like, how do they respond to the various tones that he sets, right? So against the Clippers, he plays really hard, really physically. He like gets up and defends Kawhi, has that thunderous dunk on Paul
Hmm.
George, and the Lakers kind of pick up on that vibe and go out and beat a really good Clippers team. In this one, it was like one of LeBron's more kind of passive games, right? Again, the line looks incredible, but like when you're watching it, it didn't feel like his fingerprints were everywhere in the way that you would normally see it. So I was kind of anticipating a bit of a step back in terms of response to tone. And yeah, like the Lakers probably should have beaten the Raptors without Pirtle by a little bit more. But I thought though that like they did a really good job in this game. Austin Reaves didn't play very well. You had that kind of weird game here from LeBron. I thought despite that weird tone that the Lakers really played well and played hard and I thought kind of understood as the game went on the gravity of the situation. You can't lose this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the minutes kind of tell you that as well, right? AD gets up to 39 minutes. LeBron plays his 35. And then you had all the like kind of very situational subs like Darvin Ham trying to protect the defense, D'Lo playing well, still only hits around 16 minutes. Cam plays around 22. So I think you saw that kind of the urgency with how much he played the guys. But I just want to push back on like I think Toronto is better than their record suggests. Like they're 15-21. I think coming into this game, I just like I don't really look at that with them. They've played a lot better, especially since the trade. They just blew out the Warriors a few games ago. RJ had like 39, 8, and 5 in that game. And again, tonight he was really good. RJ Barrett he finishes with, like you said, 23 and 10 and 5. Like he's just had a perfect fit with them. Pascal Siakam's having a strange situation, but he shot 10 of 17, had a mid-range pull-up over 80. So like, and Scotty Barnes played 40 minutes just to show like how much they wanted this game as well. And Barnes 26, all those guys shot from 3. So I thought this was like a really solid game, even if the numbers don't really bear that out. Toronto made some runs. They went up, I believe, 8 at the most with like some Gary Trent Jr. threes who he was also 4 for 6. So this was a really, really solid win to me. I think Toronto's better than the record, even without Jakob Pertl and the other. I think they had one more center out as well. I think this was a really solid win, and Toronto always plays us well. I'm pretty sure AD has like his lowest scoring margins against them, and that's a lot to do with Nick Nurse, but that has a lot to do also with Toronto's personnel. They have a lot of switchable wings, and you're making the point, I believe, on All Access during the Clipper game that Austin is going to struggle against these like big kind of wings that can chase him around ball screens, and Toronto's another team that does that. They throw a lot of big wings at him, and he had a tough time kind of getting his offense going. And he got going late. So I thought this is a really, really big, tough win that they had to get. And I thought you saw that with the minutes and you saw that with the game plan that was executed. Funny thing about the LeBron thing, Anthony, I thought it was like, I think it shows a lot that down the stretch, they still went to Austin. Even with the rough night that he was having, he still had the ball late. It was still him controlling. I think that's massive. I think that, shows something. That's an important detail here. Like that they really trust him with the ball, even in games where he's really not shooting well from anywhere. I thought that was big and just shows a level of trust that they have in him. And then Darvin kind of going back to him in late game situations, and he came through. But no, it's a huge win. I think this is a solid win. I'm higher on Toronto than I think most. I love the Quickly and Barrett kind of addition for them. But yeah, it's big, solid win and a fun win with a lot of scoring. We got a scoring high game, Anthony. When's the last time the Lakers dropped 132 points? Like it's been forever. We've been watching these damn defensive battles, and I love defense, but like sometimes you gotta win a barn burner. I think they call it. Like sometimes you gotta win a barn burner, and they did tonight.
I'm I'm having an out of body moment right now as my large adult son Max is at the podium. We have a Max Christie podium game. Let's go! Look at this. My dreams have come true. You mentioned the fact that the Lakers went back to Austin, and we'll come back to that here in a little bit. But I actually thought the more notable, like go away from, come back to, development was actually with AD, where he has that great first quarter, right?
Yeah.
What do you have, like 20 points in the first quarter or something like that, or 17, I believe.
17.
And then
I had 21 going in the fourth.
Yeah, and then like you're watching in the second and third quarters, you're like, okay, when are you gonna get him? Like where did he go? Are we gonna have another one of these games? And I thought it was both great to see from the Lakers' perspective collectively that they would go back to that and remember, oh, yeah, that's right. Thaddeus Young is guarding Anthony Davis. We should maybe get him more involved and keep him involved. but also I think from AD's perspective, where when he caught the ball in the fourth quarter, he had bad intentions, right? Like
Yeah.
every time he was catching the ball, he was trying to get to the rim. Every time he was setting a screen, he was setting good hard screens and then running to the front of the rim. It was good to see AD, how many games, Raj, have we seen where he has that great first quarter and then you look at the end of the game, you're like, where did
Yeah.
he go? But the fact that the Lakers went back to him, when I do these things, obviously we analyze the game for what it is, and we look at some developments in that game, and we try to explain why a game turned out the way that it did. But for me, if you're doing this, if you're analyzing these games, you have to also do that with like the macro in mind. And for me,
Hmm.
the macro takeaway of holy shit, the Lakers figured out a way to go back to Anthony Davis. That is a pretty big development. We haven't seen that nearly often enough.
For sure, and I think a big part of that as well. And I said the Lakers needed counters from the team when teams send help, but biggest thing, Anthony, to me is, and I'm gonna keep like beating this drum, is that 80s re-entering the jump shot into his shot diet. He had a pick and pop big jumper, I believe, late in the fourth. He had a jab step three, right? And I think it's just a lot for 80 to try to just barrel to the rim every single time for 40
Yeah.
minutes a game. Like that's a lot, especially the amount of help that Toronto's sending. So him being able to just implement the jumper, implement floaters, get to the line. He had 14 free throws tonight. Like I think that all is all part of his game. And when he can put his jump shot in the game, it allows him to attack the basket more, allows him to be defended differently, allows him to attack closeouts. And that's why you saw that Toronto has to kind of play up on him. If not, if he's just not shooting at all, if his jump shot is just not a part of his game, then teams can kind of sit back in the paint and wait for him. But now his game has kind of evolved. And this is part of why I think he's better than he's ever been as a Laker, because his passing is so much better. Like he has 6 assists tonight. Like
Yeah.
he probably could have had 10 if teams were hitting, but I just like his reads are a little bit better now. Toronto throws a bunch of wings at you where you have to be patient with your reads, and I think he's so much better at that, where he can kind of collect a double team versus like being a fire alarm when a double team comes. How many times when we played Toronto in the past, a double team would come and AD would have to spin on a pivot 3 times before kicking it out to a far cross court pass, and now he's getting the double team and reading and manipulating a defense versus just kind of obliging by what they give him. And yeah, I think that's all a part of it as well. And that's why they were able to go back to him. LeBron threw him in the post. And it helps Anthony to have Thaddeus Young be your main defender. Like that helps somewhat as well, having Thaddeus Young and Siakam be the switch. And even Scotty Barnes, who's a really good defender, he kind of went through in the fourth. But I think the jump shot is so pivotal to being part of this, to him being 13 for 17, is that you can't get 17 to 20 shots up if you don't shoot outside the paint. Like it's really, really
Yes.
hard. Even a guy
Mhm.
like Giannis will come up and just take a free throw mid-range pull-up and it will drive Bucks fans crazy. But like what he's doing is keeping himself in rhythm, in offensive rhythm. And that's why AD needs to take the jab step threes. He needs to take the pick and pop jump shots, not for that to be his main threat, just to keep him in an offensive rhythm. And I think that's why he was able to come back in the fourth and drop 20 points in the fourth. Man, just ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, and it's why for so long you and I would come on here and be like, I know it's right. I talked about this with Tim, right? With Cranjus from the Lakers Exceptionalism Pod. Something I talk with Aaron about all the time, right? It's not the more efficient shot. It's not the most efficient shot that
Mm-hmm.
AD can always take, but it is the kind of shot that keeps him involved in the game and keeps him in the flow of the game and keeps him
Yep.
engaged, especially when he makes those jumpers. You really see like a different kind of light go on behind his eyes where it's like, ooh, I really got it. And it doesn't have to be those like fade away 17 footers that,
Yeah.
yeah, they're impossible to block, but it's difficult shot to go up. You see those jab step threes, you see those rhythm mid-range catch and shoot jumpers and stuff. Like the adding those different aspects and those different looks to his game makes him such a different offensive player. And it's why I was like begging for him to keep shooting him even while it wasn't the most efficient shot, because the payoff is a game like this. The payoff to him taking those shots when they aren't the most effective and the most efficient is a game like this, where he is able to stay engaged in the game, and he can see one of those shots go down over the course of it, and he can be confident taking that shot late. Also, I think it has a real impact on his free throws. Like, him knocking down jumpers like that and staying in rhythm as a jump shooter or just as a shooter, when he goes to the free throw line, that isn't the first time he's putting that kind of motion on the ball. And I think that really impacts what he, again, 13 of 14 from the free throw line tonight. It's this kind of, it's the opposite of a snake eating itself, right? It's this kind of snowball that runs down the mountain. And the more that you feed it with these things, the more dangerous it becomes. And then you have an avalanche kind of game like you had tonight from AD.
Right. Yeah. And if we can just put a little, and last thing on him, like a lot of lineups tonight where I think I like the Christian Wood and AD units together. I think those help him as well. Kind of just play him with a spacing big. The Vando lineups are a little clunky, but I think they're finding stuff to where when teams send help, because obviously teams aren't just going to let AD play one-on-one. Like, just once your superstar starts making 4, 5, 6 field goals, like they're going to start sending 2. But I think that's where the Lakers can really open up and just create this huge. I believe, Anthony, they have a huge margin to like improve on offense. Like, they're 28th, I think, still on offense, which is like Washington Wizards kind of level. I think I've heard other analysts say. I think the place they can really kind of improve is, okay, when our stars get doubled or teams send help, where's the help coming from and how can we take advantage? I think Vando being just a 10% more aggressive offensively a part of this, and all this is kind of surrounded by AD being improved as a passer. So I'm hoping that kind of creates this improvement on offense to where now Torian's hitting shots. Shout out Cam Reddish hit 4 threes tonight, but I think a lot of these shots can come off of the attention that AD is getting offensively. So yeah, the jump shot, the post ups, the pick and roll, it just really makes AD way more dynamic than in the last 2 seasons, where it's really like AD's either dunking or he's, attacking 5 people in the paint. And now he has like a jump shot. It brings his handle into it and all that. So hopefully this is a sign for more things to come.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but apparently it's going viral. The Raptors head coach is a little pissed, apparently.
To allow this 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like, how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for a whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I don't really have. All right. So here's my thing. So the Lakers did shoot 23 free throws in that fourth period. The Raptors had to foul some. So you're going to have some of that number is going to be inflated down the stretch. So we'll say that adds like 6 free throws here and there.
Okay.
The Lakers did shoot. There were some iffy calls, right? We were on the air, and there was like the AD, the moving screen that RJ Barrett on AD. That was, I think, the most notable there. But also the Lakers were doing a lot of finishing at the rim themselves. I like sometimes look, home court is a thing. Also, like, here's my thing, Raj.
Okay.
Every single time the Lakers have one of these kinds of wins and the free throw disparity is this, you have Twitter, like, at large, has this giant effing meltdown. Oh, yeah. See, it's rigged. It's this. Like, how many Twitter threads do we see when the Lakers were scratching and clawing and playing harder than the other teams that they were playing against to get into the playoffs last year? And they had the free throw disparity that they did. Oh, the league definitely wants the Lakers in the playoffs. They're doing everything they can to get the Lakers into the playoffs. Let's say that's true. Let's say that it is indeed actually rigged, right? You realize the kind of scandal that would be? Like you realize that like this would shake professional sports to its core. If the Lakers were actually being given extra opportunities to win these games just for the very sake of being able to get into the playoffs and all of that stuff. Never you mind the fact that the Lakers outplayed the Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies to the tune of a couple series wins that they had. No credit for that. Everything always goes back to the free throw disparity here. I look 23-2. If that happened against the Lakers, I'd be pissed too. If I was the coach of a team that shot only 2 free throws as the other team shot 23 free throws, I would also be pissed. But acting as if this is like somehow unique to the Lakers is disingenuous bullshit. Like, what are we doing? Like, what do we?
Yeah.
I've watched the Lakers have like multiple games ended with bad calls that the league would go back and admit the next day, whoopsie-doo, we missed that one. And somehow I don't see like the Matt Moores of the world screaming about the travesty that refereeing and the riggedness of all of this might be. Somehow that doesn't happen. I miss those rants and raves when that happens. But when it's the Lakers, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen to the sport. What are we doing? It was a great fucking game. Why are we complaining about this?
Yeah, I was not expecting that. My counter always to when people bring this up, because this seeps into like regular life conversation too about basketball. This is not just a Twitter thing where, oh, it was the refs. Do you think the league had a chance last year, Anthony? If it was rigged, like if people's beliefs on rigged games and all that, the league had a chance for Lakers Celtics in the NBA Finals. They got Nuggets Heat. Now, like me and you are big fans of Nikola Jokic, and Jimmy Butler has like a really cultish following in terms of the people that kind of die by him. But you think the league wanted that? You think the league wanted Nuggets Heat? Like
before the Lakers Nuggets series even started, somebody who I really respect, Adam Modis, who's a friend of the show, somebody I go way back with, right, is going out there with these Twitter conspiracy threads about like, do you know how much money is at stake if the Lakers make this or if the Nuggets make this instead of the Lakers? And even Mark Cuban is like, shut up, dude. That's bullshit. It's so freaking stop the count nonsense that we keep seeing from these people over and over and over again every time. And again, if it was that consistent the other way around, like if the Lakers had and by the way, that happens every so often that the free throw count goes in the other way, because that's how this works. Sometimes referees call a bunch in the favor of one team and don't in another. You have 3 referees on the court. Like, sometimes one referee is going to call the game a certain way, and another referee who is tasked with calling offensive fouls or defensive fouls for the other team is going to see the game a completely different way. And that's how the discrepancy happens. And sometimes it goes in favor of the Lakers, and sometimes it goes in favor of the other team. And when it goes in favor of the other team, I don't see all of the whining and the hemming and hawing about, gosh, man, this whole thing is rigged. Why do the other teams even play? Shut up, man. It was a great game. Like, what are we doing? Like, every time the Lakers win a really good game, it goes back to this nonsense. And we sit here and wonder why the NBA is getting laughed by the NFL, when after every one of these really good games, you have like credentialed NBA media saying that this shit is rigged. Like, what? Roger Goodell would slap thid people upside the head and be like, you aren't allowed to cover this anymore. Shut up until you actually like my sport.
I did not expect that from the Toronto coach, by the way. I thought this was a really fun, like, back and forth game of 2 teams that really executed really well. Like, this should be the conversation tonight. Scotty Barnes was incredible. He was dunking like Giannis. Like, I thought he looked like Giannis dunking the ball. Pascal had a really good game. RJ Barrett looks like a freaking awesome get from them from New York. Emmanuel Quickly was 4 for 6 from 3. But now the conversation, Anthony, because of what the Toronto coach did, and he has more than right to like feel a type of way. I don't think the free throw disparity was as crazy once you get into all the intentional fouling they had to do. Anthony Davis was like kind of a monster inside, so his 14 free throws are I put those to the side anyway. But go ahead, go complain. But yeah, now that's the story. The story is that instead of this Toronto team played really freaking well against a Laker team that was desperate to win. and all their guys played really well, but that's not the story anymore. And I'm disappointed in that. I was not expecting that from the Toronto coach. And yeah, no one was saying these things, Anthony. When we were 3-10, where was the free throw rigging then? Where was that?
Yeah.
Where was it then? I'm sure the league wanted us to lose at home to Memphis. I'm sure that was
Yeah.
I'm sure if the rigging was part of the conversation. So hopefully
All
that
right.
doesn't carry too
Let's
much.
get back to this one. An interesting thing happened over the course of this one. Austin Reaves didn't play very well over the course of the game. He finished with 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3-point range. The one that he did make right was that really deep 3-pointer that he made in the fourth period. 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 7 assists, 11 points, and finished the game. D'Angelo Russell, who thoroughly, I thought, outplayed Austin throughout this game. In 17 points, he scored 11, or in 17 minutes, he scored 11 points, was a +7 in this game. 2 of 6 from 3-point range, 4 of 8 from the field, 5 assists. And again, like I said, thoroughly outplayed him, did not close out this game. And I'm looking to confirm this, and I'm going to see if I can see if Lakers media is tweeting about this. But apparently, D'Lo again declined to speak to the media. He
Wow.
did so after a big win against the Clippers, and now does so again after a big win over the Toronto Raptors. And you know what? I sympathize here with D'Lo. I really do. You would hope that over the course of a game, if you outplay your counterpart, that you would get the opportunity for a few more minutes there, especially late in the game. The Lakers were just better while he was out there. He and Max Christie, I think, really outplayed Cam and Austin as a kind of backcourt tandem or whatever. My concern here is, and you made this point on playback tonight. Like, if you're D'Lo, yeah, you understand when you go to the bench, you're going to play fewer minutes. But if you're D'Lo, you're still a professional, you're still competitive, and you did outplay Austin in this one. It doesn't send the best message to go back to Austin late in this game. And it worked. The Lakers won. That's all that winds up mattering here. But I do understand where D'Lo is coming from when he's like, look, I only have to be here for a few more weeks at worst anyway.
Oh, yeah. I'm not as cynical, hopefully, as like saying like that it was, intentional or anything like that. But yeah, I feel bad for him because if he doesn't close tonight, Anthony, he was 4 for 8, 5 assists, 11 points in 16 minutes, actually 16 minutes and 30 seconds. Like I don't know when he'll ever close. So I understand from his perspective of like I'm just looking at this human element of D'Lo where he knows he's a free agent this summer, right? In terms of his he can become a free agent, and free agents you just don't get paid as well coming off the bench. That's just how it works. Starters get paid more than reserves, so like keeping him in this reserve role directly, impacts his next contract. I don't like Darvin's not doing that, intentionally, but that's the reality of it. I feel for him there. But like you said, like once you come off the bench, it's kind of a license to have your minutes kind of yanked with because you're no longer assured 2 full stints plus like one more probably as a starter. But I really like him in this bench role, Anthony. I'm disappointed. I don't know why he's not speaking to media. I'm hoping that's just something that he has other things to do. Hopefully, then like him to help. I'm hopeful. Let me live in this universe for a little bit. It's about one normal damn like month of
You want me
Laker
to
basketball.
all right. Raj, guess what? The sausage is being made right over there.
Yeah, I know.
You look the
I'm
other
gonna get
way.
out of the kitchen. I'm getting out of the kitchen. It's too hot in here. It's way too hot. No, but like it's funny because this is actually an awesome role for him, and Austin is actually more reliant on our stars than he is. Like he has way more capability of like functioning as the sole kind of ball handler in a unit. And you brought up him and Max. It's a really nice pairing because they kind of are yin and yang, where like Max is the athletic guard and D'Lo can be his like, lack of a better term, unathletic self. Like he can just be the skill guard in that lineup, and they surround that with like Christian Wood and an AD and Vando or Cam Reddish, and I think it's just a really nice spot for him to sit in. But yeah, I would like him to close. I don't like the messaging that it sends him, and especially with like forget Austin, even the other guys like Cam Reddish would have likely closed this game, Anthony, if he doesn't get probably like get hit in the head. He probably closes over D'Lo as well. But D'Lo's found a nice like spot here, and I think this team needs him. I think D'Lo's production is extremely necessary on this team. 11 and like 5 is still probably lower. Like probably 16 and 6 is something they need from D'Lo every night. And I really like the kind of bench rotation that they've kind of landed on. I hope that they can kind of keep D'Lo engaged. That was my worry about him going to the bench was, can you keep him engaged still? And it seems like it has. He was talking crap to RJ Barrett, right? Like, when's the last time D'Lo was talking crap to another player? He was absolutely engaged in this game. He was giving like body shots to Dennis Schroeder. Like they were having a back and forth, which was nice. Like I like chirpy D'Lo. I like that. Like I like him. That's part of his game. That's part of the swagger. It's part of the juice that he brings. And I hope they can keep him engaged. So hopefully he speaks, next time they do media on Thursday.
He had to run out, get dinner for the family. He had to hustle back home. That's how you have this like going.
He was hungry. I think it's like 10 o'clock. Probably hasn't had dinner yet. You know what I mean? So I had to go out and grab dinner.
If he keeps doing this, eventually he's going to get fined, right? And the longer that he keeps doing this, the more noticeable it is that he isn't talking. And again, I haven't seen. Okay, there it is. Jovan tweeted it out. D'Angelo Russell has declined to speak with the media for a second straight game. So there's the confirmation, whatever. And the longer that he keeps doing this, the more attention he brings to the fact that he may not be happy with this role. And it winds up being like, here's where you do find the snake kind of eating itself. That you're helping yourself in that you don't have to answer these questions. You don't have to, talk to these people that you don't like anyway, but you're quenching your hunger with your own tail, and you're actually hurting yourself by your approach to solving this problem. We'll see what this looks like and all of this stuff. I do know that like earlier in the season, there was some frustration in the locker room directed at D'Angelo Russell for his handling of trade rumors right at the beginning of the Zach LaVine thing. And then, he comes back from injury and I think has played really well in this role coming off of the bench, but he doesn't see himself as a bench player. And this is me speculating. I don't know this for sure, but again, this is a guy who, and I've talked about this on the show a lot, who has been traded by every team that has employed him, and sees the writing on the wall once again. After, by the way, he has a Lakers birthday party for his kid earlier this offseason, and maybe this is his breaking point. Maybe this is where he says, every NBA player will say, well, the NBA is a business. We understand this is a business. Business this and business that. And in this case, maybe this is just, he's reached his breaking point, and he doesn't want to deal with that business anymore, at least for the time being. And look, worst case scenario, he only has to deal with that business side of things here in LA for another few weeks. On the bright side of things, my large adult son, Max. Look at this guy. Max Christie plays 18 minutes, 2 of 2 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3-point range. Split his 2 free throws that he went up and shot. 6 points, was a +5 in this one, 4 boards, 2 assists. No turnovers in this one. And just continues, I think, to kind of scrape the number of minutes away from say Cam Reddish or other guys ahead of him. I thought coming into this season that eventually there would be a real conversation about Max Christie and whether he should start. And I think we've arrived. I think we have formally and officially arrived here where I think Max is just a better basketball player than Cam Reddish. I like his fit in the backcourt as somebody with a little more foot speed to guard the guys that you don't want Austin guarding with your starters. Now the floor spacing isn't great, but I don't think there's any, noticeable difference in that regard between Austin and Cam. I think we've arrived, Raj. I think it's time for Max to start. He
Yeah, I
closed.
remember
He closed in
he
a game that the Lakers absolutely needed to win.
he did. I think this is his first game he closed. I remember, summer league, you were kind of touting out Max Christie a lot. I was, rewatching the summer league games. I knew it would pay off. I knew eventually, and Max Christie is part of like my favorite type of like fandom where you see a guy grow. You get to watch from like him drafted to him running the summer team to now being a super productive player. And yeah, I think he's just better than Cam Reddish as a basketball player. He had a shot tonight, Anthony, which there's no way he takes 3 weeks ago. They went to a zone against us, I believe, in like the third quarter, and then Max Christie gets the ball and he just jab steps and realizes he's open and just takes a three and he drills it like it's something he's supposed to do. Like it was just in the
Yeah.
flow. I was like, yeah, that's it right there. Like the confidence for him, I think he's a better shooter than even he gives himself credit for. He was he was 1 for 1. So I guess that was the only three he took. But he just looks like he plays in the flow. And his defense, to me, he's not as much of like a chaos creator as Cam Reddish is or even Vando is, but he's more of like a technically sound defender. I think he's our most
He's a lot
fundamental.
steadier.
Yeah, he's our most fundamental and technically sound defender. Like if you watch him, like if a coach is going to teach how to play defense, I think they would kind of point more to like Max Christie in terms of like, this is how you slide your hips, this is how you get around, this is how you body up to make sure like they can't take advantage of you. He's just been really solid. It was cool to watch him close and him to earn that, right? To watch him earn those minutes. It was kind of thought of that he would be part of the rotation, maybe out of the rotation, but he's really earned a spot and he's kind of going in a upward trajectory. Like he looks like he's getting better, he's getting stronger, he's getting more confident. He had like ball handling duties as well in the fourth quarter. He brought it up, ran a ball screen with AD, hit the pocket pass on the money, and AD hit the jump shot. Like just little things like that. And I just love him next to another skill guard. Like he was running point because all our guards were out at one time. So like he was the backup point guard. And I just love him next to like a D'Lo, next to a Austin. He's really solid. He just has to play. And what did he finish with? 18 minutes. That's probably around the right kind of ratio versus him and Cam. Cam played 22. Max played 18. I like their minutes kind of split, and then you can kind of lean into whoever's playing better. Cam was shooting well, so I understood why he kind of continued to play. But Max has been really good, man. It's exciting. Lakers found another one, it feels like, and just like he raises our athletic floor, and you know what I mean? Like so many of our like guards are just unathletic, to put it. No, it's for like couldn't find a nicer term to put it, but like Max Christie just raises your athletic floor. Like he catches the ball inside the paint and he can stand and dunk. And I know that sounds very simplistic, but it's important in an offense that struggles so much to find any type of easy looks. It's important to have a guard when he catches in the paint can finish and go up and try to dunk on somebody. That's important and gets you easy looks. So I'm excited about Max. So excited. I feel like his minutes should be continue to go up. It'd be interesting when Rui gets back. But yeah, your is it grandson or adult son or whichever
Large
son it
adult
is
son,
is
yeah.
large adult is
Yeah.
here.
So, one, I love how when you even vaguely criticize players, you like kind of curl up a little bit and you talk as if they are standing right there. Like you for lack of a
Yeah.
better term, you're a little unathletic. I'm sorry. It's like
Try to put it nicely. Yes,
I think D'Lo knows. I think he knows he's a little slow.
that's fair. Yeah.
He's been himself for quite some time. Uh, two, another disclaimer here is that Max probably only finished this one because Cam got hit upside the head, right? Looked pretty clearly to be concussed. He's probably going to be in the concussion protocol for a little bit. As such, Max stepped in. But again, this is a game that the Lakers absolutely needed to win. When you look at their schedule coming up and you look at some of the games that the Lakers have dropped before, this was not one that they could just like, shoot, shit happens, I guess. They couldn't look at this way. Ham had options that he could have gone with there. And he chose to go with Max instead of, when Cam came out of the game with that concussion or what looked to be a concussion. And Max played well, and this is he has guys at his position that he had to guard there, right? He was guarding Gary Trent Jr. He was guarding Dennis Schroeder a little bit here and there. He's a big part of all of the switching and length that the Lakers were trying to utilize out there defensively to wrap things up, and looked right at home trying to execute in what became a shootout. Right. Normally, if Max is going to play well, it's because the game is kind of mucked up. You get out in transition, and he looks good there. But he looked just fine in a game that felt like it had real stakes attached to it. So, yeah, that's a big development. If he continues to develop, and the Lakers have somebody at his position, right, a shooting guard type player who can guard, the Anthony Edwards of the world, the
Yeah.
I guess Jamal Murray's of the world, and look, he's not going to shut any of those players down. They're special offensive players. You don't shut those guys down, but he is an option that the Lakers don't have elsewhere on their roster. Torian Prince, his feet don't move like that. Cam Reddish, uh, comes and goes, I think, with that and can defend like that. But like you said, he's more of, like you said, like a disruptor. I love that term for him. Max
Yeah.
is like the only steady, quick-footed guard who you can put on those types of players. And if he winds up being legit, that changes what the Lakers have to do, say, at the deadline, and what they have to get back whenever they trade D'Angelo Russell.
And my last thing on Max is that the last game against the Clippers, a guy who used to torch us is Norm Powell, right? And Norm
Yeah.
Powell really cooks these guys. Like you just described Cam as this chaos kind of disruptor. Norm Powell cooks those guys because like those guys like to gamble a lot, and Norm gets to the line very easily. Like he's a guy that you got to be kind of fundamental on him. And Max was awesome on it. I thought the Clipper game changed when Max Christie was taken out of the game, and I forgot who they went to, and Norm started to really get cooking, got a bunch of open threes, and turned that game from what should have been a lot, a 10-point kind of to a 12-point lead to like a 1-point game, and that game got close. But Max again tonight, I thought he did a really nice job on Emmanuel Quickly. Quickly did shoot 8 of 14, 4 of those were threes, but I thought a lot of that was kind of on broken plays or broken penetration. I thought he stood with them, he took contact, thought he was solid on RJ as well for a lot of these possessions. So yeah, Max is a guy that like we just don't have a lot of two-way guys, which is strange to say after a bunch of wings that we paid. But like with Rui hurt, he's really the only two-way guy. Like Cam, Vando, all those guys I put in the one-way kind of box, and Max has the potential to be a two-way guy. So that's huge for this team.
Last thing before we get out of here, he's played really, really well lately. Christian Wood in this one, 24 minutes, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3-point range, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 4 boards, an assist, a steal, a block, was a +3, scored 14 points. In his last 4 games, he's playing about 20 minutes a game. He's scoring about 12 points a game, 7 boards, a block, an assist, shooting about 55% from the field. About 62% on 2-pointers, about 40% on 3-pointers. Hasn't missed a free throw in that time. This is the guy that the Lakers were hoping he would be when they signed him. Right, he has the pedigree to make a real impact on this thing. He is he's more talented than a veteran minimum type player. It's just, with him, the question is always, what are you going to get defensively? And I think he's been very good there. And what is he going to look like when his shot isn't falling? And now, fortunately, recently his shot has been falling, so you haven't had to worry about it as much. But I do think, though, that like he really has come around to doing some of those small things. And a version of what we said earlier with D'Angelo Russell is like you have to reward Russell playing the way that he did with some of those late minutes. With Wood playing the way that he has completely supplanted Jackson Hayes in the rotation. He is the bona fide backup center who does get some minutes alongside AD. The lineups with LeBron, AD, and Wood out there together has also looked very good and is very good statistically. I still have some questions about the sustainability here, but for right now, he's playing really good basketball.
He is. Yeah, he looks like also he's in better shape Like he just looks more conditioned than he did earlier in the year. He looks like he knows where his shots come from. Anthony, I still don't trust whenever the jump shot goes up. Like I just never know if that shot's ever going in
Yeah.
or not. He took a 2 dribble curling pull up, or not. I wouldn't say pull up because he doesn't lift off the ground, but like just a 2 dribble shot that
Pull.
that went
He's
in.
like, no up,
Yeah,
it's just pull.
just a pull shot. Yeah. Which kind of matches how his jump shot looks. But no,
Yeah.
he's like he's attacking closeouts now, and he's just so skilled where he can finish at the basket. Like you compare him versus like a Vando when they attack, and he's playing next to Vando as well, which I think helps him defensively. But he just gives us some size that's like desperately needed when a bunch of your like players are guards and wings. You kind of miss out on some size on the back end, and he kind of gives you best of both worlds because he can play the 4 and the 5. I like him next to LeBron. I think LeBron really likes having a spacing 5 in that second unit, especially when you can kind of run pick and roll, have some space
Yep.
inside the paint. And like they're running more actions for him. They're running stuff to get him in the paint. He's also kind of drawing fouls as well, getting to the line. I've liked how he played, and this is kind of the vision, right? That you just said. This was the vision for him, kind of be this offensive threat. I'm not sure he thought he would be like collecting DMPs or all that, but 23 minutes, that's a good night for Christian Wood. I still have defensive concerns, especially against the better teams. I think they can pick on him more than like a team like even Toronto can. They put him on Scotty Barnes tonight because Barnes is another just rim seeker. And I think Christian Wood can do a fine job on that. He moves his feet well, but perimeter players he struggles with. I liked also, Anthony, they didn't switch as much tonight. Like they switched a little bit, but they didn't like give up the switch happily tonight. And I like that a little bit. Play a little bit more conventional, solid defense. And I think Christian Wood can really help you. He's protecting the rim. He's getting blocked shots. And the biggest thing is the rebounding to me. Four rebounds in his 20 minutes, but I think he just really helps tap balls out, boxes out, and just another guy that teams have to be aware of inside. And he's really, helping AD and LeBron out there. But yeah, great stretch so far from Christian Wood. They panned to Jackson Hayes today on the team. I was like, oh, Jackson Hayes is on this team. Totally forgot. There's so many guys where that happens. But yeah, Christian Wood's playing really well.
Yeah, I like that essentially, and I use this analogy often, right? If you think of a basketball team like a pitcher, you want as many pitches that you could throw confidently at your disposal, right? Especially as like if you think of a basketball team like a starting pitcher, where if you're a closer or if you're a relief pitcher, you can get away with throwing 1 or 2 pitches extremely well, right? You're only going to see a batter one time. You might only see the one batter in some cases or whatever. Some of those rules have changed. But if you're the starting pitcher, you're going to go through that lineup a few times over the course of a game. And by the time that you see that second batter, you can't face that batter the exact same way you did the first time around. So you have to, in some cases, throw, an extra curveball, an extra splitter, an extra, changeup or a fastball or a 2-seamer and all those things. And what Wood playing like this allows the Lakers to do is have a whole bunch of pitches. If they want to go super duper small with LeBron at the 5, they can do that. If they want to go super duper big with LeBron at the 3 next to AD and Christian Wood, they can do that. If they want to go with a little bit more traditional and balance things out a little bit, and yet still space the floor, you can have Christian out there with LeBron. And the more pitches that Ham feels confident in his ability to throw out there, the more effective the Lakers are over the course of a game. And I think Wood deserves a ton of credit for playing the way that he is, and thus allowing Darvin to throw all of those pitches. I know it's a baseball analogy. I know that it's always a risk when I go there, and I can kind of see you kind of drifting away and like trying to understand what it is that I'm saying. But I promise those who have ever watched a sport that isn't basketball, they understood that one, I think.
I was just thinking how in baseball, like every player has to hit, right? So like they have to hit. They have pretty
Well,
much,
like
except for
you have the designated hitter, right? So for pitchers now, they don't have to hit anymore.
okay, so just the pitcher, but everyone else has to hit.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay. So I was just thinking, like, imagine in basketball where like every player had to shoot like one possession LeBron has to shoot, and he can't shoot like until the 6th possession going forward, right? So like
Yeah.
LeBron shoots like damn, like, and now like the next play someone else has to shoot. I know that's a cross sport comparison. That's how my brain
No.
works, but like
Well, it's
I'm just
actually
like,
I think it's actually a bit of a problem, I think, for baseball, where like you have these great players, right? The Mike Trouts of the
right.
world, Shohei when he's just a position player, right? You can go, throughout, Acuna, right? Just won MVP last year. And I do think it's a problem in their sport that the best players on that field only get like 3 opportunities a game to impact the game offensively. And I do
Yeah.
think that like if baseball wants to grow, one thing that they really have to address is they want their stars to have more impact on a game by game basis than they currently do. So to your
Right.
point, like I think you were like right there as far as like making a baseball point. This is great.
Yes, that's as close as I'll get to a baseball point. Yeah. Comparing it to basketball. It's as close as I get. Comparing it right back to basketball.
It's also great that I said like you came close to making a baseball point, and you would totally call a run a point. Like I could totally see you doing that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's definitely
you
what I
actually
do.
touch home plate. You're like, I scored a point. Like, oh man. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers lounge. This post game episode of it. Raj, this has been a blast. This has been fun. Thank you very much for hopping on and doing this.
I'm so proud. We went through this whole show. Not one trade talk. Not one is
Well,
Darvin
kinda.
Ham's. It's not one Darvin Ham's seat, warming up. Like I'm proud of that.
Well, if they
Not
lost
one.
this one, we would have been right back at it again.
That's true. Yes.
Um, and no, I did mention D'Angelo Russell trade stuff. I did kind
Oh
of,
yeah.
I snuck it
Yeah,
by you a
that's
little
true.
bit there.
But no names came up, so it doesn't count. No names came up.
Did you like watching future Laker Gary Trent Jr.? Did you
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
that?
his
Did you like
his
game?
his tryout was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That was not a bad tryout for the Lakers.
Gary Trent Jr., 14 points, 5 of 10 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. That is perfectly fine by me as a Laker. Please come here and do this.
Damn it.
That is going to do it, though, for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. Tomorrow, Aaron and I will be here. Wait, what's today? Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, Aaron and I will not be here tomorrow. I will be here to talk you guys through the latest goings on in a lowdown episode. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from us, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Chipalu. Check us out on Playback. All Access Lakers is where you do that. And until the next time you guys hear from us, have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.